Throughout history, execution was used as the ultimate punishment for those who committed serious crimes. Many kings and queens have been categorised as brutal and horrific based on the executions they ordered. For example, Henry VIII, the brutal Tudor monarch, ordered the deaths of over 70,000 people in his kingdom, including 2 of his wives who were beheaded, and also many of his closest friends and advisors. Mary I also gained the nickname Bloody Mary due to her burning of Protestants after restoring Catholicism to England. Many countries use different methods of execution, and still today this is the case. But what is history's worst execution method? Join us today as we look at Scaphism, the worst death sentence, and remember to support our channel. Please make sure to subscribe. Scaphism is an ancient Persian method of execution that was truly barbaric. What would happen is that the condemned would be placed into a boat, a small wooden vessel, and they would then be covered in milk, honey, and other things that insects and vermin, such as rats, would be attracted to. Over time, these would slowly eat the person to death. What we know about the practice comes mostly from 2 accounts written throughout history that describe the punishment. One comes from Plutarch, a Greek philosopher who was a priest living around AD 100, and he documented what occurred during the sentence of Scaphism. He stated, "The king said that Mithridates should be put to death in boats, which execution is after the following. Taking 2 boats framed exactly to fit and answer each other, then laid down in one of them, then the person that suffers upon his back, covered with the other, and setting them together that the head, hands and feet are left outside, and the rest of the body is secured within. They offer him food, and if he refuses, they force him to do it by pricking his eyes. After he has eaten, they cover him with a mix of milk and honey, pouring it into his mouth and all over his face. They then keep his face turned to the sun, and it becomes completely covered with the amount of flies that land on it. As within the boat, he does what those that eat and drink must do, referring to excretion and going to the toilet, meaning that the condemned would be lying in their own waste and filth. Vermin then spring out and eat the man, entering the bowels of him, and his body is eaten. When the man is dead, the upper boat is taken off, and swarms of creatures are growing in his insides. This particular person suffered for 17 days and then died. So a person was placed into a boat, covered in milk and honey and other things that vermin are attracted to, and then slowly, without being able to move, they would be eaten alive by flies and rats. Truly terrible. This punishment was used for centuries, and a Byzantine writer in the 12th century also described it. He cleared up what Plutarch meant, and also confirmed that this practice was used, with the victim being eaten alive by animals, unable to move and covered in their own excrement. The issue with Scaphism is the ordeal that the person went through. When compared to other execution methods such as the guillotine, it was a slow and drawn-out process, intended to cause incredible suffering. Seeing someone in this state would have had a strong deterrent effect. Let's take the guillotine on the other hand, which was a device intended to take the heads of as many people in as quick a time, and as time went on, other execution methods were drawn up to be slightly more humane. For example, during hangings, the long drop method was used to immediately snap necks, not to endure suffering and inflict suffering for such a long time. Execution itself is rather controversial, and it's believed that Scaphism was the worst method ever used throughout history, and it's hard to disagree. Once again, thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe, and once again, thank you so much for watching.